So let's talk about something that affects pretty much everything in our global economy. When a giant company operates all over the world, where should it actually pay its taxes? It's a massive puzzle. We're talking billions, even trillions of dollars. And today, we're going to look at how the world is trying to solve it.
It all kicks off with this seemingly simple question. Think about your smartphone. Let's say it's designed in California, the parts come from South Korea and Taiwan, it's assembled in China, and then it's sold everywhere from London to Lima. So, where was the profit actually made? Was it the genius idea in California, the high-tech manufacturing in Asia, the final sale in London? Right off the bat, you can see how this gets messy fast.
And for a long time, this complexity created a huge loophole. It's called profit shifting. Basically, a company could legally arrange its affairs to report most of its profits in a subsidiary that just happened to be in a super low-tax country, even if hardly any real work happens there. And, well, you can bet that governments in countries where the real work was being done felt like they were losing out on a ton of tax revenue. They knew something had to change. So, that frustration led to a major turning point. Tax authorities from all over the world, with the OECD leading the charge, got together to tackle this problem head-on. They launched a project called Base Erosion and Profit Shifting. We just call it BEPS for short. And the whole goal was to create a brand new global rule to stop this from happening. And this right here, this is the core idea that completely changed the game. Transfer pricing outcomes should be aligned with value creation. So what does that actually mean? In plain English, profits have to be taxed right where the value is actually being created. You can't just park your profits in a low-tax country anymore, unless you can prove that the team there really truly earned it. The money has to follow the actual work. Okay, so we have this new rule. Great. But how on earth do companies and tax authorities follow it? How do you prove where the value is being created across a massive global company? Well, they needed a tool, a way to tell a company's complete value story. And that tool is built around this big idea, the value chain. It's a concept that's been around since Michael Porter introduced it in 1985. A value chain is basically a complete blueprint of a company. It maps out every single thing the company does, from the first spark of an idea to R&D, manufacturing, marketing, all the way to customer service. Everything that goes into making something a customer actually wants to buy. Now, let's clear something up, because people mix these two up all the time. A supply chain is not the same as a value chain. A supply chain is all about the logistics, moving parts from point A to point B. It's just one piece of the puzzle. The value chain is way bigger. It asks a much deeper question. What's our secret sauce? Is it our groundbreaking research? Our killer brand? That's where the real value is hiding. So doing a value chain analysis is how you actually write that value creation story. It's not just a boring spreadsheet, it's a full-blown narrative. It's the blueprint that shows everyone, the company, the tax authorities, exactly how and where profits are being made across the globe. It's all about connecting the dots between what people do every day and the money that comes in. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. How is one of these analyses actually done? I mean, it's not just guesswork, right? There's a really systematic way professionals go about mapping the whole thing, and it usually breaks down into 5 key steps. It's basically a 5-step process. You start by gathering up all the data you can find, talking to people, reading financial reports. Then you figure out who all the players are and what they do. You connect all the links between them, figure out how much each contribution is worth, and then, at the end, you put it all together in one big diagram that tells the whole story. Now for that second step, identifying what everyone does, you need a system so you don't miss anything. A common one is the SCORE model. It just helps you organize everything into 5 buckets: plan, source, make, deliver, and return. Using a framework like this makes sure that every single activity, from the CEO's office down to the IT help desk, gets put on the map. Okay, now we get to step 4, and this is where the magic really happens: valuing the contributions. This matrix helps classify every function based on its risk and its impact on the company's bottom line. And you want to look at that top right box, strategic functions. This is where you find the heavy hitters, things like R&D and branding. They're high risk, yeah, but they also have a massive impact. This is how you prove, with data, that these activities create the most value and deserve the biggest slice of the profit pie. And after all that digging and analyzing, what do you get? You get this: a single, clear diagram that shows everything. This map is the final story.
It visually connects every single part of the business and shows exactly how value flows from one country to the next. This is the evidence, the proof, that you can hand over to the tax authorities.
So, you've got this beautiful, detailed map. Now what? I mean, this isn't just some academic project. This analysis directly impacts how a company makes real financial decisions, especially how it allocates its profits for tax purposes around the world. This whole analysis becomes the foundation for defending a company's transfer pricing, which is just the price one part of a company charges another. It's absolutely essential for businesses built on big ideas. Think a tech company's source code or a pharma company's patent. The analysis might even show that you need something called a profit split method. That's for when value is created by multiple teams in different countries working together. So you have to split the final profit fairly between them based on what each one brought to the table. Okay, I know this has been pretty deep in the weeds of international tax, so let's pull back for a second. Why should any of us really care about all this technical stuff? Well, the payoff actually matters a lot to all of us. Because this kind of analysis is way more than just an accounting tool. It's a fundamental piece of the entire modern international tax system. It's the main framework that's trying to make sure that where a company pays taxes is based on what it actually does and where it actually does it, not just where it has a mailbox. And the ultimate goal here is really simple and tangible. When profits get taxed where the value is really created, every country gets its fair slice of the pie. And that tax revenue, well, that's what pays for everything we rely on, our roads, our schools, healthcare, infrastructure. So getting this right has a huge real-world impact for everyone. And that brings us to one final thought. The idea of linking profit to value makes a lot of sense, right? But what happens as businesses become more and more digital, totally borderless? The very definition of value starts to get blurry. How do you map the value of an algorithm that exists everywhere at once? Or the value of data that flows around the globe in a split second? That is the next great challenge, and it's what everyone in the tax world is trying to figure out right now. Thanks for digging into this with me.